We talked in the previous clips about how to use market expectations to understand a company better. And here we have two more segments for you. The first one is to look at the beat and miss history of a company. And the second one is look at the ratings change history. Now, what do we mean by beat and miss consensus history? Well, for every company, the market always have a set of expectations. They may think the company will do this amount of revenue and this amount of earnings. And in the end, the company will always beat, meet, or miss that market expectations. And the differences between the two will move the share price. So if a company has been beating the market expectations consistently, that is a good thing. However, if the company misses the market expectations a couple of times, you need to be cautious. So here for Apple, what we measure is when Apple reports its revenues and earnings per share, and we compare that to the previous market expectations. And what we can see here is Apple has been consistently beating the expectations both on revenue and on earnings per share over the last 2 years, 1 year, and the current financial year. And what do we mean by consensus here? Well, in the financial services industry, you have people working in research companies such as Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan, and their job is to analyze these companies and produce forecasts for these companies. So the average of those forecasts create a consensus for the company. And it's quite important for a company to be able to exceed that expectations. If so, the share price is more likely to go up than go down. And when a company does better than the consensus, that also contributes positively to the momentum rank, because the momentum rank is about the amount of earnings revisions and the revenue revisions the company receives from the sell-side analyst community. And that leads us to the next part, which is the ratings change history for Apple. So in total, there are 43 analysts hired by different investment banks and research companies, and they give different ratings for Apple, from buy, sell to hold. And what we show here is that ratings distribution amongst the buy, sell, and hold ratings, and compare what it is today versus 30 days ago. So once again, if a company sees more ratings on buy today than 30 days ago, that means the overall community of the sell-side analysts is revising up their ratings and recommendations for Apple. And the more positive those revisions are, the better it is, and the more favorable it is to the share price. So here you can see the distribution with all the 43 analysts that have a rating for Apple. 79% of them have a buy rating, and 21% of them have a hold rating, with none of the analysts rating Apple as a sell. And that distribution hasn't changed in the last 30 days. So this rating change history and their distribution is also quite important because it tells you the market sentiment. And in general, you want to buy a company that is seeing more positive revisions, because sometimes you may not have the time to do the research, and a lot of these research analysts' full-time job is to follow Apple. But once again, don't just look at this blindly and follow what they recommend. That is also one part of your research process. But overall here, looking at both the bid-miss consensus history and also the ratings change history, the overall market sentiment is positive on Apple, and Apple turns out to be doing better than what most people think. And that is a very good positive sign.